All right, so the other day, Zach Tillender, I think that's how you say his name on YouTube, he made a video about a study linking, talking about exercise as a method of decreasing anxiety and depression. And I thought it was a very interesting video because that's basically how I've staved off my anxiety and depression. 10 years ago, I was always known as a really chill guy. Nothing really bothered me. And if it did bother me, I really didn't have any, effects of it. Didn't affect how I acted or, things I said. But at some point in 2011, it's like a flip switched in my head and I was just worried about everything. It's like no reason at all. And it got pretty bad. I remember at one point, came home from work, got off at 3, came home, changed into some normal clothes, and I sat on my futon. I just didn't do anything for the rest of the day. I sat there until 11 o'clock at night. When I decided to go to bed, because I was racked with like this fear that I would somehow make the wrong choice, something would go wrong. Don't know why. I just sat there. Didn't even eat dinner. At that point, it was a problem. So, went to the doctor, and like any doctor does, put me on some anxiety medication. And I tell you what, anti-anxiety meds, they work. They work really well. I didn't have any anxiety. I didn't care about anything. I wasn't worried about anything at all. One of the side effects is that if you took it in the morning, it would make you drowsy throughout the day. If you took it at night, you'd have trouble waking up in the morning. It really slowed you down quite a bit. So yeah, it really brought everything kind of down several notches. And I remember one time, I was supposed to be at work at like 9 a.m. or something like that. I woke up like 9:15, and I lived about 5-6 minutes away from work. I wasn't far, They called me and said, "Hey, you're supposed to be here." I said, "Yeah, you're right." So I laid in bed for another 45 minutes. Wasn't on my phone. This is, smartphones existed, but they weren't like how they are now. Didn't watch TV, didn't play video games, didn't go back to sleep. I just laid there. I just didn't care. And I knew that that wasn't good, but I quit working out because I didn't care. I quit working hard at school. I almost quit the martial art I was doing at the time. But I had no anxiety. Like, it worked. It cured my anxiety. And I realized at a certain point that what I was doing wasn't sustainable. So I slowly weaned myself off of it, of course, several months. And I just had to learn how to manage my anxiety. And that's where I've been for 12 years now. I quit taking it later that year in 2011. And since then, I learned how to manage it. And that made me realize that depression and anxiety can't be cured. They can only be managed. And I think that's a really important lesson for people, because a lot of people hear of a miracle cure for, obesity or for this disease or for that disease, and that they think that it's just going to be over one day. And it's not. When you lose the weight that you want to lose, if you're on a fat loss diet, you have to maintain that, because whatever got you to that point will bring you back to the point. So you have to keep doing what you did to get you to where your goal is. So you can't just keep doing what you were doing before. And it's the same thing with my anxiety and depression. Like, I still suffer from it. There's still days where I'm just not feeling it. Most of those days I can get through really easy. I just come down here, start lifting. I go to the gym, start lifting, go for a run, something like that. There's some days that I realize that nothing is going to work. And then that day is it's not going to be a loss. I don't want to call it a loss, but it's going to be not as good as it could have been. And once I accept that fact, it's a bit better. I just kind of lean into it. But I thought his video was really good, talking about how, you know, that should be a focus before medication. And, you know, sometimes I would say even before therapy, before talking to someone. Not that you shouldn't, but, you know, we need to look at the root causes of things, because I had no root cause for my anxiety and depression. It just started one day, you know. But if you're around shitty people all the time, if you're in a crappy environment, then, you know, that's not going to help your anxiety and depression. That's going to make things worse. So you need to analyze who's around you, what's around you, the things you're doing, the bad habits you might have, and that will help. It helps me. And, you know, I didn't have any root cause of my problem. So if you have a root cause of your problem and you can lessen that or remove that, hey, that's a way to go right there. None of this is to say that you shouldn't be anxiety free. You need some anxiety. Some anxiety is good. You need to worry about that deadline you have at work or at school. You need to get to work on time, you know. Anxiety is what's kept humans alive forever, you know. One of the problems we have with like outrage culture is that people think they're in danger when they're not. For the overwhelming majority of human history, we were constantly in danger. Stuff was trying to kill us left and right. Other humans, animals, the environment, weather, and that just doesn't happen in today's society. And so our brains are wired to be constantly looking for danger. And lifting, I think, exercising hard, I think it kind of tricks your brain into thinking you've had a struggle. And so for me, what I always tell people is that I will exhaust my body so that my mind doesn't have the energy to worry about things that don't exist, you know. And I think that that's a pretty good way to look at it. If you look at people that exercise regularly, particularly people that do like combat sports or something like that, you know, when you're in a ring with somebody trying to kick you in the head, you actually are in danger. So when you get outside of that ring, everything else is pretty easy. And I'm not saying you have to go get kicked in the head or something like that, but if you put your body through some rigorous training, then, you know, that's gonna make your body think, oh, hey, you know, we had that danger today, it's over with, we're chill now. And I actually noticed that for me on Monday. Monday, I decided to take as a rest day, and I have mixed feelings about rest days because your body needs it to recover. I'm trying to build bigger muscles and stuff like that. But on Monday, I had a lot more anxiety. I got a lot more short with my son when I was putting him down for bed. I was less friendly with people at work, you know, and I think it's because I didn't work out that morning. So back to the beginning of this video, talking about how exercise can treat anxiety and depression. It absolutely can. There's other things that you can do, remove yourself from a bad situation if you can. Not everyone can do that, you know, but you can choose who you hang out with a lot of times. If you can choose the foods that you eat, you know, try and eat mostly whole foods that are slightly less processed. Processed foods aren't necessarily bad because they're processed, but I also feel a little better when I'm eating simple meals, you know, chicken and rice and beef and rice and stuff like that. Staying hydrated. Those are all important things. But a lot of people were giving him crap in comments saying how, you know, to just prescribe exercise was irresponsible, and it's not. Everyone should be exercising. If you can exercise, you should exercise. It'll make you, you know, a better person at everything you do, and it'll definitely help with your anxiety and depression, because I know it helped me.